to mental health in Chicago, Illinois. He was a husband, father, clinical psychologist, teacher, mentor, social activist, black leader of international stature. The following presentation was made at the Black Psychology and Mental Health Conference at Atlanta Junior College, Atlanta, Georgia, April 10, 1980. Dr. Wright, in his own inimitable style, eloquently summarizes his principles, his philosophy, his life's mission, his hopes, and his faith in the strength, inevitable triumph, and reascendancy of African people. For those who never had the opportunity to meet or hear Dr. Bobby E. Wright, this presentation will serve as an introduction to the man and his mission. For those who were fortunate enough to have known Bobby, this will be an opportunity to remember, to be re-inspired, and to be rejuvenated by their old friend.
Asante Sana, Habari Gani, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. You know, sitting listening at the other two presentations always influences me to somewhat modify mine, especially at the tour de force of, we went through that tour de force Jenny did of mental health centers. My position is the exact opposite of Jenny. I'm very unique, and I hate to be one of those who say I'm the only one, but I'm probably the only black in this country who is over an all-black comprehensive mental health center. There's only one we've been able to identify, and that's Garfield Park. Of the 750 some centers that are in operations now that are primarily for black people, only one in this country is an all-black center. Yet there are hundreds of all-white centers, all-white comprehensive centers. We have approximately 96,000 face-to-face contacts per year, 96,000. So when I talk to you about behavior and all, it's coming out of some type of background, because a lot of people in Garfield Park are from Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and places like that have southern backgrounds in the city of Chicago. Also, by the mere fact that I'm also unique in another way, in that I grew up in an all-black town not 100 miles from here called Hobson City, Alabama. But one of the problems we had as we were growing up that we always had a problem with was becoming known. We didn't want to become known, and for many years I've never wanted to become known. In fact, it's not well known, but up until about 1975 was the first time I ever consented to speak in front of a mixed group. The tragic reason I'm telling you this, because I'm going to talk to you as psychology students or behavioral scientists, black, because there's only one fight left, just one, and that's for the fight for the black mind, and we are losing. We are losing. You see, because if you stop to think about it, some of the things I'm going to show you, and then we're going to give some solutions. Today I'm going to tell you some things that you will reject, but that we can do, and that we should be about doing, and they're very simple things, something you can do in your day-to-day life. The first thing you must recognize is as a black student, you have a responsibility that I just cannot tell you what it is. I mean, it is so awesome. But yet, you are no different than a Palestinian student. Students your age in Palestine are carrying guns from Palestinian students. Israeli students your age, Jew students your age are carrying guns, in addition to going to school, carrying guns. In terms of Zimbabwe, students who also had to go to school had to carry guns. All we're asking you to do is what? Go to school. You're carrying guns, unfortunately, but against each other. Now, that becomes what I deal with is the difference between where we're at. By going to the University of Chicago and being trained there, and as Harold said, there's a difference between education and training. It is impossible, and I will say this to you openly, it is impossible for the Georgia school system to educate black children, but they can train you in those skills we need. Your education must come from the black community and from black people. There's a difference between education and training, and that's where I want to start this off with, because a lot of people get confused about that. In Alabama, with all black teachers, they taught me how to think. Not so much what to think, but basically how to think. They also taught me group behavior, not individualistic behavior. Now that is what training does. Training teaches you to operate against the best interests of your own group. It teaches you individual behavior rather than group behavior. Education is a liberating force. A liberating force. So I'm going to go through quickly some of the things on why you should learn the skills. And nothing I say, I hope, nothing I say will imply that we are not faced with a very shrewd, uncompromising, dangerous enemy. Don't ever take it in your mind that these white people are going to be easy to be had. It ain't going to be true. This is a hard fight because they have the institution and we have the people. You see, and as long as you control institutions, you can control the behavior of people. Now, with that in mind, listen to it carefully. The very first lesson you must learn as students is that the fundamental mistake you can make is to try to use white definitions to explain or analyze black phenomena. That's the first mistake you make. And anytime you use their definitions that are given to you, you're in trouble. Now, the second lesson I go against Harold here. I do not think you should tell your white professors nothing. I do not think you should argue with them. I don't think you should do anything. I think you should accept the skills they get and go about those. I know your black professors either. Your objective of being at Atlanta Junior College is to acquire skills and get out and go on to Morehouse, and then from Morehouse on to Harvard and somewhere else. The reason you're in school is to get a degree and to get skills. Nothing else. And that's most certainly not what I saw downstairs, playing cards and all that. That's mental style behavior. Mental style behavior. Let me tell you something that Sister Gwen Rockwell and Brother Naeem can tell you. They used to bring me down here every year. Most of the time I had to pay my way, but they still brought me. They used to bring me down every year to talk to the combined students over at Morehouse, AU, and all like that. And invariably, we get all these black students who say, "Oh, Dr. Wright, we crazy about you. Why don't you come south and take over these schools?" You know what I used to tell them, and I say this clearly. I have a great deal of admiration for these black teachers working in these schools. You think I have it bad in the mental health center. At least I know I'm dealing with people who are crazy. At least I know that. I just realize that. I don't mean that to be funny. I really don't mean that to be. Believe me, I know a lot of students who come up to me now and say, "Hey, we read your stuff and all." But let me tell you something. If I came to Atlanta and took over a school, the first day here, I would send half the black students home. Half the black students would go home. And it wouldn't be hard for me to find out who I was going to send home. Well, just walk through the halls and do things. I know exactly who's going home. Right then. The second day, I would send half the black faculty home. Yeah. You see what I'm doing? The third day, I sent all the black administrators home. And then we'll be about the business of teaching. Because I swear, I see students doing stuff to black people, black adults I've never seen before. I'm very serious about this. Okay, let's go through it. Here's what we're going to go through. I'm going to go through with you something you might not have seen before. But every time, by being over this very large agency, we have, and by the way, we train AU students. We train students, I'm talking give them their field placement. We give the internships to people from Meharry. We train them. We give from Howard University a train at Garfield Park. So yeah, Bobby, fraud is nothing, young ain't had it, never had, da-da-da. And I said, fine. And they're not relevant to the black experience. I said, can you tell me why? Let me show you why. I'm just going to take some at random because these are what I call mental style programs. These are mental style theories. These are mental style modalities. And invariably, what you try to do is take these and treat black people, and it never works. Remember, the ultimate objective of mental health in this country is to get black folks to adjust. To adjust. Some of the sickest black people I know, remember, I do not call people niggers. I do not call them toms. I never use that word. I never use that word, and you shouldn't. That's the first thing you should stop and just throw it out of your vocabulary. Throw it out of your vocabulary. We have a right to have sick people like everybody else. And we should begin to differentiate between what's appropriate behavior and inappropriate behavior without getting into the name calling and all like that. Now, it's to adjust, and remember the definitional, I told you. Remember that definitional warning I told you. Let's take a theory. Let's take a theory of Maslow. All of you have heard Maslow talk. Blacks like it, because I'm sure where else it goes from. Maslow had a theory called self-actualization. All you remember, okay, first you have to fulfill. Here's the way it's the model. This is the model. First, food, water, sex. Sex here is for procreation of the species. These basic needs must be met first. This is Maslow, but you all are trained, many of you are trained, because from this came transactional analysis, came pearls. I'll go into it in a minute. The next one is safety. That's the next level. Safety. That's the next level. The third level is self-esteem. Fourthly of its love, and then self-actualization. That's the Maslow model. Give or take a line. That's the Maslow model. Right away, you should see clearly here. You should clearly, if you try to apply, no matter how good it sounds, this theory to the black experience, or to trying to treat blacks right away. We have problems getting food and water. Sex doesn't seem to be a problem yet, but women get it. No, it might be. Let me tell you about that. We got a problem in all three of these. Let me tell you why we have all three of these. Now remember, these are the hierarchy of needs. Maslow takes the position that in order to be a healthy, functioning individual, you must secure these needs and go here. A hierarchy of needs must be met. If that is true, we ain't never been safe in this country. If that be true, you can see right away, and I'm not teaching you all this so that you can go up and tell your professor that. What I'm saying to you is this is the way you do analysis. But in order to do analysis, you must first know it. You cannot analyze something you don't know. And we've been in this country 400 years and know nothing about it. That's a tragedy. That's menticide. And I'll talk about just a little bit about it. Okay, now, but look at what else Maslow said. He said, if you cannot do these things, most certainly you cannot have self-esteem. And without self-esteem, you cannot what? Love. Now let me show you here, sex, which was for procreation. How all of this ties in. Now, out of this, of course, out of this, what you call sort of non-directed counseling, came Fritz Perls, that all you all have up on your walls. I'm not in this world to satisfy you. You're not in this world to satisfy me. You do your thing, I do mine, and we happen to cross somewhere beautiful. You know, that same old BS they got us all doing, this individual stuff. You don't tell me what to do, I don't tell you what you do, you know, and all of that. And we're the only people that engage in that type of behavior. We're the freest people in this country in that respect. Where we individuals, you can do anything you want to, and the black community cannot sanction you. In one sense, we're the freest people in this country. No Jew can do anything he wants to against the Jews. No Irish can do anything he wants to against the Irish. But any black can get up here and say and do anything they want to, and we cannot sanction them. Keep that in mind. What I'm talking about, and I'm going, like I said, we have to go, because I know we got a lot of questions. Now, the sex now becomes a problem here, because, as you know, many of you have heard me talk about this today, but you should understand this. Today, in 1980, the group with the largest suicide rate in the nation are young black males, 17 to 33. Largest suicide group, the group with the largest suicide level. The group with the largest homicide rate, young black males, 17 to 33, killing themselves, killing each other. The group with the largest institutional rate, that means going into mental hospital and the prisons, young black males, 17 to 33. Now let me tell you the significance of that. The significance of that is this. The significance of that, well, let me go one step up. Now when you raise the question of homosexuality, which means you're now also talking about the ratio of what? Black males to black females. Sex becomes now a problem here now. And I'm talking about the way they use it for procreational purposes. And if we look at some of the statistics about that, which at 14 and under, at age 14 and under in the black community, for every 100 black females, there are 102 black males. From 14 and under. At the age of 14 and under, for every 100 black females, there are 102 black males. However, from the ages 14 to 24, for every 100 black females, you have 96 males. And then from 25 to 44, for every 100 females, you have 84 black males. 84 black males. Now, when you take into account the institutional rate alone, for example, let me give you an example of that. For every 100,000 black men, for every 100,000 white men, 105 in prison. Every 100,000 white men, 105 in prison. For every 100,000 black men, 1,004 in prison. 1,004 for every 100,000 black men, yet we are less than 15% of the population. All right, now if you begin to look at those ratios, then you have to project, during the child-bearing ages, how many functional black men are there for each 100 black